Hi, and welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. I'm your host, Angela Stribling, and I always get so excited to talk about love, relationships, sex, dating, being single, being married, all of the above, and how to just really help everyone who wants love and wants to keep love in their lives, how to help you keep it vibrant and everything you want it to be. Sometimes it's not easy, but it doesn't mean you have to give up. It takes work. And so I'm so excited to meet these two people. I mean, what they're doing is game changing. As a couple, they're going around talking to different people. They're, on the speaker circuit. They've written a book. It's called, wait, let me get the name right. The 5 Core Conversations for Couples. And if you're in a relationship like I am, it's important to talk about everything. Don't let anything just fester. That is a recipe for disaster. So we're going to bring them on, and feel free to just, let's take advantage of having them here. These are two experts, and we get a chance to talk to them about relationships. So please welcome David and Julie Bulitt. Hi.
Hey, Angela, how are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to meet you two.
We're thrilled to be here, really are. Yeah. Coast to coast.
Yeah, we're
Coast
happy to meet you. Yes.
Oh, I love it. Where are you guys right now? Where are you?
We're in the DC area, right outside of the district.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So I was born in Buffalo, New York, but yeah, the DMV raised me. Spent all my adult life in the DMV.
Now you went to warmer weather.
What'd you say? Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm kind of bi-coastal these days. Got married, moved to the peninsula, Silicon Valley, but I'm also still back in DC at least once a month, spend a week or two there. Yes. And I love the DMV. I will never leave. Not completely. Certainly not completely.
Yeah.
It's a great place. I mean, it has everything. Everything.
Yes.
All 4 seasons.
That completely.
Is, yeah.
As a lover of leather jackets, I like the fall and the spring a lot.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Those are my favorites. But where I live, it's kind of like fall and spring perpetually, like always, constant.
That sounds good to me, actually. Yeah.
It's like usually 70s. That's where we live, like the 70 to mid 70 range.
Perfect.
So I want to thank you both for accepting my invitation to join us today. Shout out to Warren Morris for putting you on my radar. And
radar.
Yeah. Warren.
Yay, Warren. Yeah, he's so awesome. So for those, who are just getting to meet you like myself, tell us a little bit about you and why you decided to get into this business of helping others with their relationships. Whoever wants to start.
Yeah. So I'll start. I am a family therapist. I've been doing family therapy for 30 plus years and love what I do. I get to work with all kinds of couples, all kinds of families, and really get up close and impersonal, of course, in therapy and see what people struggle with. And I've been married to David for almost 37 years.
Woo! Bravo.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, so that's a little bit about me, and then he can tell a little bit about him, and then we'll talk about us.
Yeah. So I come from the other side of the spectrum. I'm a divorce lawyer, and that's what I've done as a vocation for well over 30 years now. And I represented parents, represented folks going through all areas of divorce most of the time, a lot of high conflict stuff, whether it's finances or children and otherwise. And that's what we've done together. And over the year, and we raised 4 children together. We have 4 daughters, 2 of whom are biological and 2 of whom are adopted. And, like most couples, we struggled. We had our own struggles, and we had several issues with one of our kids that caused our relationship to not fracture, but certainly crack here and there over the years. And how we came to be, the 2 of us as the team that you see in front of you, was one of those kind of just sort of funny things. We're sitting on the beach, long story short, and we started talking about what we do and what we talk about. And we started to realize that what we talk about and the issues that we deal with folks are identical in a lot of ways to, both from Julie's therapeutic side of the fence and my other side, darker side of the fence in terms of when people are breaking up.
Yeah.
And that's what led to our discussion. That's what led to our book, The 5 Core Conversations for Couples. And that's what's led to our work together and soon to be a second book that comes out called Secrets of Strong Couples. So,
Oh, I love that. Can't wait for that one. I love what you're doing. I mean, couples need this. Couples who are, newlyweds, as well as couples who, like yourselves, who have been together for 37 and plus years. There has to be some common threads that both of you are dealing with. I mean, you're on opposite sides of the spectrum. Oh, hey, folks are chiming in. Hey, Marvin. What would you say are some of the most common things that both of you are finding, if there are?
Yeah. Well, that's sort of what our book is about, is we came together and realized that money, sex, and parenting were 3 main areas that people had difficulty with and a lot of conflict around. And
Money, sex, and parenting.
Yeah. Money, sex, and parenting. And of course, there's more issues. So we really built our book around talking about those. And then also the first core in our book, which is called Building and Filling, is about the foundation of your relationship and really about how you get together, how you communicate, how you fight, how you make up, what does that look like? And those kinds of things. And so we found that there was lots of the same issues. And one of our trainers coined this phrase early on, or we worked out with this great woman. And she said, listen to Julie so you don't need David.
Yeah. How about that?
Right.
Exactly. You're trying to just keep them together. And then, David, what do you find that, if you were to say like the top 3 reasons that people are divorcing, what's the first one?
Well, people ask me that all of the time, right? And almost always, most people think, well, somebody cheated or there was a financial failure or whatever it may be. And certainly those types of issues are prevalent when it comes to people breaking up. But what I will tell you is this, that the most common thread, and you just started on this journey, so I want to tell you now
what not to do.
The most common thread is what I call a malaise creep. And I coined it. It's copyrighted. I got it.
Okay.
Here's what happens, right? Is that you're busy. Your spouse is busy. You have children maybe, but you have careers, you have jobs, are running here and there. And over a period of years, you become managers of your family, of your relationship. And then all of a sudden, at some point in time, things slow down, either because your kids have grown up or you've pulled back in work and you're slowing down. And you look across the table and you say, I don't really know this person. And the part that I do know, I'm not all that crazy about. And it wasn't a purposeful thing. It isn't a hatred and anger. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's hatred, but more often than not, it's just a sort of acceptance of the fact that we've grown apart. And the primary reason we've grown apart is because we haven't paid attention to our relationship. Julie likes to use that elf on a shelf metaphor, right?
Yeah.
Like,
your relationship can't be like, the elf on the shelf that people bring out,
Christmas
once
time.
a year, and they try to get their kids to behave, because it's like right there. And if the elf thinks you're a good kid, then you're going to get more presents, right? So they don't, so that it's a little red elf, and people take like funny pictures with them and stuff like that. But a lot of times people think that they can get to their relationship when they have time. And, that can be that, you don't feel like getting dressed and going out one night and you're wearing your sweatpants and let's just say and watch a movie or whatever. And you get kind of comfortable, which is great to be comfortable in a relationship, but then you kind of get complacent and that's not good. That's not good. So it's a real balance. And I always tell people you have to consistently pay attention to your relationship. It's not like you can just put it on hold. You can't just get to it when you feel like it. You can't get to it when you're ready. If you do that, it may not be there.
I totally agree. I was watching this.
The pandemic created a lot of togetherness, for better, for worse, and a lot of just rudimentary day-to-day going about your business. What we did, on Friday or Saturday night, we would have a date night and we couldn't go anywhere. We'd have it in the house. we'd take a shower, change, whether we made cocktails or something to eat, whatever it was. Now, sometimes Julie would work late, on Friday, and she'd, come upstairs. I said, no, upstairs, hit the showers, get out of your social work clothes and put on,
Right.
and then we're gonna have our little date. And
Yeah.
we didn't go anywhere. We might put some music on or watch a show or whatever it might be. But we work to keep that fun going.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
love that. The connection. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't want to wait until it's late in the day, far down the road
Yeah.
to remember that. That's, I
Yeah.
believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think it's a part of the work, that, yeah, it's, I've been single a very long time and, got married, as I told you recently, just last year. And I had a great single life. I mean, I love my own company, great group of friends. But, once I met and married my husband, I love the partnership. And I'm always into, let's not take that for granted. I mean, of course, it's easy to, say, okay, you're right there. Just like you said, that elf on the shelf thing. But still act like a single person and just, you're not. You're together now.
You have the maturity of having been in the working world, run your own business, and grown up. You're not a 19-year-old with with stars in your eyes, so you don't have those sort of issues. But you have folks who get married a little bit later in life deal with other things, right? You're used to doing things your way. Your house is the way your house is, and now all of a sudden you've got a partner who might not do it the same way. So those are other things that need to be talked about and navigated together as a couple.
Yeah, I agree. And we do. And that's good.
Yeah.
Not that I'm bragging on hubby.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love this.
And one of the other common, issues that I see in my office, and I think David probably sees this too, is people not willing to address difficult things.
Mhm.
So, I didn't want to talk to them about that. I would, or something's bothering somebody, or it is a big issue, but they don't want to talk about it. They sort of sweep things under the rug,
Yeah.
which, okay, we can do that for some things, but eventually you're going to have to talk about hard things. And I find that people don't want hard conversations. Maybe they're conflict avoidant. Maybe they're, they grew up in a home where people didn't really fight or correspond about different things. So that's the other thing that I would say that we help a lot of couples understand. You're going to have tough conversations, and tough conversations make you stronger as a couple.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one of the things when I was promoting this, meeting you guys in this conversation, is that I mean, just from doing this show for several years, it's difficult for people for all the reasons you just said, Julie. They don't want to hurt their partner's feelings. People have called in and said, the sex isn't what it used to be. And honestly, I could just do without it because it's just, he's not trying or she's not trying.
Yeah.
And they don't just say anything to their partner because they don't want to hurt each other's feelings. However, to your point, you got to say something. This is your life partner, and there are ways. And so what I want to ask you both in your book, with delicate topics like that, how do you recommend that people, just kind of get to the conversation, figure out a way to say it?
Yeah. So there's two things that we talk a lot about, and Julie talks about tone a lot, and it's also not necessarily what you say, but how you say it, right? And also not necessarily when. It's also not what you say necessarily, but when you say it, right? So we go back to your the example you talk about, someone who's unhappy in the bedroom, right? It's probably not a good idea to walk up to your husband and say, "Hey, what the hell's going on? You stink," or whatever, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It might be better posed like, "I'd like to do some more things," or "I'm interested in doing X, Y, or Z, or maybe we can switch it up," or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So engage the person in the conversation. Don't blame. You statements, right? Isn't that what you said?
No you statements, I statements. So you always want to say how you're feeling and taking responsibility for the part of whatever's going on for you. Because if I come up to David and I say, you do this or you do that, that automatically puts him on the defensive. If I say, I'm feeling a little, left out, or I'm feeling a little ignored, or I'm feeling a little lonely in this relationship, which can happen, that is a much better statement than say, you don't pay attention to me. right? You don't pay attention to me sounds a lot different than I feel lonely.
Right. Exactly. And you're being a partner as opposed to accusing your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with the whens, again, you going back to the sex example, not a good idea while you're in bed together and, to say something right then, maybe, neutral turf, someplace that's, and kind of bring that up. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Or if they're first of all, sex and money are the two hardest things to talk about for people, and that we see in the work that we do together and the work that we do separately. There's a lot of power in sex and money, and I think that's sort of why it becomes so difficult to talk about. But really, I mean, if you can't talk about sex and money with your partner, like that's a sign that maybe this isn't the best relationship, and maybe you need to dig in and try to do some work, in those areas.
And also, as they say, put on your big girl pants or your big boy pants. It could be you. They might receive it a lot better than you're giving them credit for. And what David said, it's how you do it. So I think in your relationship, it's worth giving it a shot. Don't just throw up your hands and say, I can't.
Absolutely. And it's taken us years to figure out how to have conversations. We went to sleep last night and I started talking about something, and he turned to me and he goes, "Not now." When he goes to sleep, he doesn't want to talk about important or difficult things, or really anything. He wants to read his Kindle, and he wants to, start
doing something else.
Unless we're doing something else, and then he's always willing to do that.
Like Kindle.
Yeah. But and so I'm still learning, even after almost 37 years, like nighttime is not the time to talk to him about important things. If I want to talk to him about something important, I say, "Hey, do you have, 15 minutes this afternoon, or in the morning, can we sit down and have coffee and talk about something? I want to bring something up, or we want to go over the finances," or whatever it is. But do not try to talk to him at night.
But you know what I love about that? You're paying attention to him. You're saying, I know my husband, and that doesn't really work for him. So, but we need to talk about it. So let me figure out when to do it.
That's what I still have to point it out to her now and again.
Yes.
But yeah, that's
still.
Yeah. And now you also have people that are working remotely, folks in the same household, not just, not just in the evenings or the afternoons or the weekends, but now, where people are getting up, going to work, and they're going to either the same room in some cases, or a different part of the apartment or the house in other cases. And so they're on each other more. And the boundaries become an issue, but also the necessity to talk to each other remains. And what we have found is that the best way to do that is not to come blaring into, I know Julie's work, and not to come bopping in, but to, we talk, or we text, okay, we got to talk about A, B, and C. The discussion with Angela, let's sit down over lunch and spend 15 minutes and talk about it, and it's important to set that time aside. People don't think about that. You plan your business, right? You think about your business plan, where you want to be, where you want to go, what you want to do. But why don't we do the same thing in what's likely to be the most important relationship?
Yeah. And we do work with couples on goal setting, which is so important. Like we just talked about, where do you want to be? How are you doing with these kinds of things, and setting new goals. And one of the things that we find is that in order to stay kind of connected and exciting in the relationship, you should be doing new things as a couple. So think about when you first got together with your partner, and like the newness and the excitement that's there. It's all these chemicals going on in your brain that make this relationship exciting. And one of the things that they found is that if you do new activities together, so like, you start, hiking together, or you start, we learned the 2-step this year. I'm not very good at it, but
that's so
learning.
cool.
Right.
I want tango.
Yeah, coming up with something exciting and new that you can do together, so that you're still getting those fresh new
that
in your brain.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, so you've told us how many of the points. We've got 5 core.
So those three are the main areas of conflict, right? And then the bookends to each of those are what, like Julie mentioned earlier, the building and filling, which are the discussions you need to have early on to sort of, if you think of a building, you got to have, the base of that building, you have to have the foundation. And so there's a lot of talk back and forth about the conversations to have in that sort of area. And then the last portion of the book is the whole balance piece, the balance between, what you need for yourself, what you need in your relationship, what you need to have outside of your relationship, how to balance all of those, not just work-life balance, but also your relationships with others, with friends outside of your marriage or of your relationship with your partner. So that's how that book is broken out. And the interesting thing about it really is that's different is that this is not just somebody writing from a science lab or popular people because they look good on Instagram.
And we do.
Well, we thank you for that.
They're gorgeous.
we really try to tackle these topics both from our professional perspectives as well as our individual ones. And we share a lot of our own, what we found to be successes, a lot of failures along the way. And I think that everyone but our children, or most everyone but our children, appreciate our sharing those personal stories.
And then this is the book. And then one of the things that's great about this book, and you asked this question before, and we definitely need to mention this, how do you get to these conversations? In the book, after each chapter, is a section called Couples Kickstarters. Ooh. And it's specific questions relating to the topic of what that chapter is about. And it helps couples kind of dig in to talking about some of the difficult things. And we've had a lot of people say that was an amazing thing, very helpful. I've had clients use it, with both of them together. And then of course we've had people that didn't use it, but still enjoyed the book. So that is also, sort of a strategy that you could use to try to get to some of those difficult conversations.
I love it. And where can one get this book?
Oh, you can get the book anywhere online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's at many brick and mortar stores across the country, but all online retailers. And what we're also really excited about, Angela, is our book that's coming out in July, which is called Secrets of Strong Couples. And we've been working on this for 4 years. It'll be over 4 years by the time it comes out. And the way we sort of describe that book, to be honest with you, is kind of like the lion from the Wizard of Oz. You remember he said, what do they got that I don't got? So this book is real interviews with real couples who have had very difficult struggles, life's most difficult struggles, in a lot of cases, death of a child, addiction, adultery, and various other things that are very, very difficult to deal with, but they came through the other end, right? Yeah. And so the book basically we try to draw on their stories. How did they get through that? When you had a bad Tuesday can end up in my office, right?
There you go. Nobody wants that, which is why you're here. Right. And the name of the new book again?
Secrets of Strong Couples comes out on July 11th and is available now for pre-order online as well.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So I tell you what, I would love to invite you to come back when that book drops in July.
Yeah. So we would love to. We love to talk about relationships. We love to talk about, working on them, how to work on them. And, we want people to stay together and be happy.
I'd rather do this than the divorce stuff. Yeah. So the more of this.
Exactly. You're speaking my language. That you have a home here at Pillow Talk with Angela.
Oh, we'd love to come back. That would be great.
Awesome. Julie and David Bulitt, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
And all of those who are watching and not commenting, thank you for being here. This is going to live here on social media. So feel free to comment whenever you like. And they're coming back in July. You can listen to this conversation on Sunday night, right after the original Quiet Storm, Nancy Pullen, on your #1 music station in the DMV. That's 96.3 WHUR, and also on Sirius XM channel 141. Thanks for watching. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We'll see you again soon.
Sounds great.